everyone, today I'm doing the 99 random questions tag. I think it's the random questions tag. There's like the 50 randoms question tag where I believe you like just give people 50 random facts about you, but this one actually has questions, and I really like doing tag videos and I have a lot of fun watching people do tag videos. So hopefully you can get through this. Please do this if you want to do it. It is probably going to be long, and I hope you stick with me to the end. So the first question is, do you sleep with your closet doors opened or closed? I sleep with them closed. I don't know why I think that closing the closet doors keeps monsters out. I don't know what it is, but leaving them open makes me feel really insecure. So when I close them, I feel a lot better. But I like drawers being closed and doors being closed in general. Do you take the shampoos and conditioner bottles from the hotel? Not often. I remember when I was younger I did. There was something that was like such a novelty in having the little hotel shampoo bottles and whatnot. But a lot of times I just don't think that their quality is very good anyways. And if you are staying in a nicer hotel where they have quality ones, but a lot of them aren't sulfate free, and I like to use sulfate free. I'm just so high class, everybody. I just can't have sulfates in my shampoo. Do you sleep with your sheets tucked in or out? And then judging from how people were answering it, at first I was like, what do you mean tucked in or out? I'm thinking that they mean at the end of the bed. Yes, I have them tucked in at the end of the bed. I do not like blankets and sheets just like hanging all over the place. So I have them nice and neatly tucked in. Usually by morning, between the two of us, you know, things are a little bit messy, but that's okay. Have you ever stolen a street sign before? No. Do you like to use Post-it notes? I used to. Why is this such a hard question for me to answer? I don't have a dislike for them. I don't really use them now just because I feel like I have too much paper anywhere, but maybe once I'm actually organized, I'll go back to using Post-it notes. But I feel like they serve a very good purpose. Do you cut out coupons and never use them? Yes. So much so that I put myself on a like cutting out coupons ban until I can get my act together, because there was a point where I was overflowing with coupons. And I actually, a couple years ago, I took like a coupon class because people are serious business. And I was like, I want a piece of that. But I wasn't diligent enough. But I want to get back into it because there are good ways to save money. Would you rather be attacked by a big bear or a swarm of bees? Instinctually, I want to say bees just because they're smaller, and I'm like, well, maybe I could outrun them, because a bear is just so big and intimidating and could literally rip my face off with one swipe of its claw. But bees are scary and they can kill you, but I'm gonna say bees just because I think out of fear I could and would run for the dickens. Do you have freckles? Well, maybe a couple. Just a couple here and there and everywhere. I do have freckles and I love them. Do you smile in pictures? Yes. Question 10. What is your biggest pet peeve? I have quite a few. I'm really trying to work on not being so easily irritated with people. Rudeness really gets to me. People that are rude. Bad parkers. I seriously feel like printing out business cards that just say learn how to park or park in one spot only, or just like little like snippets, because when you go to park somewhere and a car is like all catty cornered in a parking spot, I'm just like, really? Or they park like this close to your door, or people that cut you off on purpose, or people that turn from a non-turn lane. It's just really rude and I don't like it. Cursing. I really get annoyed when people do it in front of children. That really gets me. We were at the library one day and some kids were saying some bad words in front of like a little kid, and I was just like, oh no. I mean, if you know, I can't control how people talk, but can't we all just agree that we shouldn't be doing it in front of little children, maybe? There's actually, I've thought about making a pet peeve video, because whenever something crazy happens and I get all irate about it, I'm like, I should make a video about this, but then I forget about it until it happens again. Do you ever count your steps when you walk? Yes, and it used to be a big deal. Like, I had to count every single step, and if someone messed me up, I was pretty annoyed by it. And there was a girl, when I was younger, we lived on different streets, but we would always like call each other and be like, hey, can you play? You know, do you want to meet me halfway? And we counted like how many steps. And so I would always count and make sure that the count was correct. I don't do it as much anymore, but I was very much someone who counted their steps, didn't want to step on the lines, because like if you stepped on the line, you broke your father's spine. If you stepped on the crack, you broke your mother's back. Things like that. So I would like jump over lines. I would want to take only 2 steps per square of sidewalk. It was really weird. Have you ever peed in the woods? I'm trying to think if I peed in the woods specifically. I've definitely peed in the desert. We called it popping a squat. We owned a property in the desert growing up, so we would go up there just about every weekend, and like sometimes you just had to pee in the sand. What about pooped in the woods? No, I'd rather hold it to where I could get to a facility to properly dispose of that waste. Do you ever dance even if there's no music playing? All the time. It doesn't matter. I'll do it in the shower. I'm just like, practicing my moves. Woo! There's just something so liberating about moving, even if you don't move well. I definitely probably couldn't be dancing in front of people. I'm not a very good dancer. I'm more of like a flailer, but I do it. Do you chew your pens and pencils? No, but I used to. When I was a kid, I used to chew on like the eraser all the time, which I guess now is kind of gross, but I don't think I ever really chewed on pens. How many people have you slept with this week? That question could be taken a couple different ways. So I'm going to answer it in the context of like sleeping in the same bed. I've slept in the bed with my husband, and I also took a nap with my daughter. What size is your bed? We have a queen-sized bed, and we decided not to get a king because when we had a king, it was really, really big. But then now that we have a queen, I miss my king. You know, what is your song of the week? Roar! I am still so about that song, and I just like bust it out every chance that I can. Is it okay for guys to wear pink? Yes, absolutely. I think that there are men who pull off pink very well, and it is very, very attractive. 20, do you still watch cartoons? Yes, I will watch cartoons with Winnie. I regulate what she watches though, because my favorite cartoons as a kid, I thought, oh, I can't wait for my child to watch, you know, those cartoons. But then once I tried to let her watch them, I'm like, wow, those are really inappropriate. So I'm partial to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Doc McStuffins. I love Doc McStuffins.
I feel better, so much better. Thank you, Doc, for taking all the ouches away. Did it feel so good too? Fixing like I knew that you would. I feel better, so much better now.
What are your favorite kid cartoons? What is your least favorite movie? This one I had to think about. I try to remember if there's ever like a movie that I just like hated. And one that comes to mind, it's called Moonrise Kingdom, and it had like a number of big names in it, and Ed Norton was in it, and I really like Ed Norton, but the movie itself was just like so weird. I watched it on a red-eye flight and I was just like, no, never again. Also, I didn't like the Royal Tenenbaums. I think some people might accost me for this, but I did not like the Dark Crystal, and that is supposedly a cult classic. My husband really loved it. I just did not. And anytime like a certain noise is made, like I think of that movie, and I'm always just like, oh, I don't ever want to hear those noises ever again. And I think the movie 13, I think it was called 13, it had Evan Rachel Wood and Nikki Reed. Where would you bury hidden treasure if you had some? Ooh, in a coffee pot, like where the coffee grinds go? I don't think anyone would look for my treasure there. No, where would I bury it? I don't think I would bury my treasure. I would bury it in the crevasse of my breast. Then nobody would find it. I'm being way too analytical, but I'm just like, well, it depends on how much treasure it is. If the treasure was like this big, that would be different than if it were like this big. That would change where I would hide it. What do you drink with dinner? More often than not, I drink water. What do you dip a chicken nugget in? We don't eat chicken anymore, but when I did, I love dipping it in barbecue sauce. What is your favorite food? I really like artichokes. I'm trying to think if I would be able to exist on only artichokes for the rest of my life. Well, that's not the question. Mexican food. And I like Italian. And I like sweets. So I have lots of favorite foods. 26. What movies could you watch over and over and still love? Back to the Future, specifically 1 and 2. Pretty Woman. I was watching that way before I should have been watching that. But I've watched that movie so many times. And this isn't necessarily a movie, but I Love Lucy is a show that I could have on all day, all night, every day, and not get tired of it. Last person you kissed? My daughter. Were you ever a Girl Scout? Yes, I was. Would you ever pose nude in a magazine? No. Granted, when that question is asked, if it says like, would you pose nude? I instantly think Playboy, and I'm just like, no. But I've seen some very classy pictures taken. I mean, like, if you're gonna do it for like your husband or something, like, I think that's one thing. If you want to like make a classy like boudoir magazine for your husband, or like, I don't know, like a classy, like you've seen some magazines where it's like a beautiful, you know, things are conspicuously covered, like things are tastefully covered, you know, but I don't like when like I said, when I think nude, I think like exposed and in a not good way. Question 30. When was the last time you wrote a letter to someone on paper? I've written thank you notes kind of recently, but it's been probably a couple months, but I am starting up a new like pen pal program. It's not really a program, but more like I'm committing to writing to people because I really, really, really love letters, and I'm just going to start writing people letters, and they're probably going to be like, are you serious? I love writing letters, and I think it'd be really fun to have international pen pals. And a friend of mine told me that there's like a pen pal website that's like associated with Post Secret or something. But like who you send the letter to, you don't necessarily get a letter back from, which I thought was, oh man, all fixed. But you don't necessarily get a letter back from them, and that's kind of not really fun. I'd want to like get to know my pen pal. But anyways, can you change the oil on a car? No, I learned how to do it when I was a teenager through Girl Scouts. That was like one of our projects, but I have long since forgotten how to do it. My husband takes care of it. Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket? I actually have never gotten a speeding ticket. Have you ever run out of gas? Yes, once, and I am paranoid and scared to run out of gas. Like, I do not like letting my car get near empty. I start to freak out because I just can't handle it. Favorite kind of sandwich? Growing up, BLTs were always my favorite sandwich. I don't eat meat a lot. I rarely eat it, but I do on occasion make exception for bacon, and I will have a BLT. And so I guess that would still be my favorite sandwich. Best thing to eat for breakfast? I really like oatmeal. So what is your usual bedtime? Usually like anywhere between 12 and 2 in the morning. Are you lazy? Yes. I'm like, I want to say, I can be very lazy, but it's asking me, am I? Yeah, I really have to like push myself. When you were a kid, what did you dress up for as Halloween? I'm not going to address every single costume that I've ever worn. I dressed up as a lot of different things. My first Halloween costume though was a bunny rabbit, and my favorite costume I think was like when the girls wore the little poodle skirts and the black and white shoes. What is your Chinese astrological sign? I actually have to look that up. I think if it's what I'm thinking of, I'm a rat, I believe. Yeah, I was right. It's a rat. I must have tried to block that out. Question 40. How many languages can you speak? English is the only language that I am fluent in. Do you have any magazine subscriptions? I do. I really like Shape, Self, All You. Which are better, Legos or Lincoln Logs? I grew up playing with both. I don't think that I could choose one. I think they serve different purposes. Are you stubborn? Can't even keep a straight face with that one. I am stubborn. Who is better, Leno or Letterman? I don't watch them now really, so like I couldn't really say, oh, this content is better or whatever, but I was really sad to hear that Leno was going off the air, because that's just, like, I grew up knowing him to be on TV, and so him not being on TV is going to be weird. Ever watch soap operas? I have seen some parts of some episodes, and like they'll have them playing in the doctor's office sometimes, and I'm like, what's gonna happen next? But I don't know how people actually follow them. Like, how do you follow a soap opera, especially if they've been on TV for like 20 years? I don't really understand that. Are you afraid of heights? Kind of, yes. I wouldn't say like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified of heights, I can't do something. But the older I get, the more afraid of things I get. When I was a kid, I used to get on top of the roof of our house and jump into the bushes down below, and it like didn't faze me. Now I wouldn't do that, and I would probably be shaking as I climbed up the ladder. Do you sing in the car? Yes, all the time. Do you sing in the shower? Yes, all the time. You dance in the car? I wiggle in the car when I'm in my seat. Have you ever used a gun? Yes, I have. Last time you got a portrait taken by a photographer? We did some family photos in September, I believe. Do you think musicals are cheesy? No, I love musicals. I guess they could be cheesy, but depending on the story, but I really like musicals. Is Christmas stressful? I think it can be, and that is a lesson that I am teaching myself to back off on. When I was a kid, I never thought it was stressful. I was like, whoa, it's the best thing ever. As I got older, I started feeling more and more pressure, like I wanted to buy everybody something, and it kind of veered off course of what Christmas really is. And so I would get stressed out, or I would leave certain things the last minute, and so that I feel stressed, like I couldn't relax right before Christmas. But this year, I'm going to try to pre-plan for certain things, but also kind of get back to the core reason as to why we're celebrating Christmas to begin with. Ever eat a pierogi? I don't know what that is. A dough dumpling stuffed with a filling such as potato or cheese, typically served with onions or sour cream. Oh, yeah, I think I've had something similar to a pierogi, but I'm not really familiar with it, so we're just gonna, yeah. Favorite type of fruit pie? Pumpkin. And yes, I googled to make sure that a pumpkin is a fruit, and it is. Occupations you wanted to be when you were a kid? I actually, and people are like, oh, it's so cliche, but I really wanted to be an actress when I was a kid. I auditioned for every play at school that you could possibly do, and I was the girl that joined the festivities for Cinco de Mayo. So I was like the only white girl that got dressed up in the traditional Mexican attire and did like the dance. Yeah, people looked at me funny. There was like Vietnamese celebrations. Again, only white girl dressed up in traditional attire dancing with other Vietnamese. Like, I wanted to be a part of everything, and I tried to pursue it, but you can only do so much without a supportive parent. So I did audition for something at Disney, and we lived in Orange County, so LA wasn't that far, but we went to Beverly Hills and met with some people, but I didn't really have like people to help like nurture that when I was a kid, but that is what I wanted to do. And then once I got old enough to pursue it myself, it was just too, like, I think I just became too insecure. The older I got, the more insecure I got. I got bullied a lot growing up. And so going into a room where people are watching you and you're having, like, if you don't do a good job and you're criticized, and I don't know, you see it all the time with people. They just kind of get like cut down, and people are really unnecessarily mean. You know, they just want to tear people down in order to get themselves ahead, and that's just not what I'm about. I did not continue to pursue that path. Sometimes I still think about like maybe doing like local theater, and people are nice here, so maybe that could just be like a fun hobby. Do you believe in ghosts? No. Well, no. I'm not sure how I feel. Like, not in the sense that I think most people believe in ghosts. Ever have the deja vu feeling? Yes. Take a vitamin daily. I don't. I used to, and I haven't been, and I really need to start doing that again. Number 60, do you wear slippers? Sometimes. I have to bust them out now that it's getting cold. Do you wear a bathrobe? I do, but not regularly. What do you wear to bed? Well, during the summer, I'll wear shorts and tank top, or sometimes I'll just wear like a shirt and my underwear. During the winter, I wear pants and a long sleeve shirt, but usually they're pajama bottoms and like a long sleeved pajama top. Even when I'm cold, I don't like to wear socks to bed. I just don't like the way that feels. Your first concert: Hanson at the Hollywood Bowl. Walmart, Target, or Kmart? Target first, Walmart second, Kmart third. Nike or Adidas? I'm gonna say Adidas, because that was like the thing back in the day and I used to love them. Cheetos or Fritos? Cheetos. Wait, unless it's spicy. Wait, are Fritos the... Oh no, Fritos are the thingies. Okay, so Fritos, unless it's the spicy hot Cheetos. Otherwise, I like the Fritos, and I like the chili Fritos over cheesy Cheetos, but I like the spicy hot Cheetos best. Peanuts or sunflower seeds? Sunflower seeds. Ever hear of the group Trace Bien? No. Ever take dance lessons? Yes. I actually took belly dancing. Number 70. Is there a profession you picture your future spouse doing? If my future spouse is my current spouse, then I see him doing similar things to what he's doing now. He's in the technology field. Can you curl your tongue? Some of y'all have some impressive tongue curling things. I can't do anything. Have you ever won a spelling bee? No, I think the only spelling bee we ever did was like a little amateur one in our classroom. I am actually pretty good at spelling. Have you ever cried because you were so happy? Yes. Own any record albums? I do, and I don't know what they are at the top of my head because they are in storage in California, which goes with number 75. Do you own a record player? I do. I had bought my grandfather a record player a few years ago, and when he passed away, like, I kept the record player, and then he had records, and so I have those. Regularly burn incense? No, I do not. Number 77, have you ever been in love? Yes, I have. Number 78, who would you like to see in concert? I would really like to see Carrie Underwood in concert. What was the last concert you saw? I saw Taylor Swift in concert recently. Number 80, hot tea or cold? I like both of them. Lately at night, I've been drinking hot tea every single night, but I do really like cold tea as well. Number 81, tea or coffee? I feel like that is asking you to pick which child of yours you love the most. But if I had to give up one of them, I don't know. I would probably choose coffee to keep. I don't know. I'm not choosing. I put my foot down. Sugar or snickerdoodles? If they're talking about cookies, I like sugar cookies better. Can you swim well? Yes. Or at least I used to be able to swim pretty well. I haven't swam a lot recently. Can you hold your breath without holding your nose? Yes. Are you patient? Sometimes. DJ or band at a wedding? I think both could be really good. I would probably want a live band. We had a DJ at our wedding because live bands were like crazy expensive. And our DJ, like, I will be perfectly honest with you, he was amazing and he got everyone on their feet. He was so good at getting everyone to get up, dance, move, and have a good time. And we got a lot of compliments on him. And he was super affordable. He was awesome. If you're in Orange County and want a recommendation, I'd be more than happy to give you his name because I thought he did a great job. I could have had a live band. I think that I would really like that. But something that really meant a lot to me is that my uncle and my brother both play the guitar and sing. And my uncle's more the singer, but him and my brother wrote a song for me and performed that at my wedding. And so, like, that was really special. Ever won a contest? Yes. When I was a baby, my parents put me in baby pageants and I won first place for like cutest baby, but I also won first place for champion chubby. And then I think I won like one of those walk around the cake contests. Ever have plastic surgery? No, I haven't. But I imagine once I'm done having kids, I will want to put things back where they belong. Which are better, black or green olives? I like them both. They just go with different things. Number 90, can you knit or crochet? Not well. I tried to learn how to crochet a couple years ago and my friend helped me make something, but that's the last time that I've crocheted anything. Best room for a fireplace? I think probably in the living room, like a nice cozy fire laying on the couch. Do you want to get married? No. If married, how long have you been married? In September, we were married for 6 years. Who is your high school crush? I had a number of high school crushes, but there was one person in particular that I liked all 4 years of high school. And I doubt and hope that he doesn't watch my videos, but if he were watching, he would know who he was. Do you cry and throw a fit until you get your own way? I have. I don't do it often, but there are times where I have thrown a fit. 96, do you have kids? I have one daughter. Do you want kids? Yes, I do. Number 98, what is your favorite color? Silver. Number 99, do you miss anyone right now? I miss quite a few people. I miss them, and I think that we probably all have someone that we really miss, or someone's. So please consider doing this tag. I think it's a lot of fun and I've watched quite a few of them already. I hope you guys are all doing well and I will talk to you soon. Bye.